Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Welcome to this week's episode. Happy Tuesday. I am so excited you're here, especially for this guest. She is one of my favorite people. Before we get to that, though, I want to remind you to stick around for our Hindsight episodes where I force my producer, Jeff, to go through every episode with me and talk about it. We also get into questions from you guys from the email at sackoffshow@gmail.com. So make sure you send your questions and your comments there as well, because we do answer them and I read them all. So stick around for the Hindsight. It's super fun. But this week's episode is my friend, Rekha Sharma. If you don't know Rekha, she was Tory on Battlestar Galactica. She is on Star Trek Discovery. She was in Yellowjackets, which she's such a wonderful actress. I forced her to come onto Another Life with me when I was there on Netflix on that show. Rekha is just one of my favorite people. We met on Battlestar Galactica and really became friends afterwards because I didn't have a ton of work with her during Battlestar. And we get into that. We talk about Battlestar. We talk about work. We talk about so many different things in this episode. It's a really deep one. We dig into her life and growing up and what it's like to be her. It's really cool. And I'm excited for you guys to hear it. So I'm going to get out of your way. Remember, stick around for the Hindsight. And without further ado, here is my friend, Rekha Sharma. Thank you for doing this. I'm excited.
Thank you for asking me. I'm always thrilled to hang out with you.
One of the things that I like to do is tell people sort of why I wanted them on the podcast. And obviously, you know, I adore you and I love you and we've worked together and I'm a big fan of yours. But I also, Sharon and I, we touched on this a little bit like before you sat down, and you are an enigma online. No one knows anything about you.
It's just because I'm not that famous.
That's not true, though. It is a weird thing where you go online and you start to, you know, you want to do your research on someone, and it's hard to, like, you're like a ghost to a certain extent. Like there are things about you and then there are things not about you. You know what I mean? And like, it's one of those things where I wanted to, I think, just know more about you and like where you started and how you started, because you started late in this industry.
I did.
And so I want to just go back to you as a kid, what you were like, and if you ever dreamed of doing what you do.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I, as you know me now, was, you know, a moron most of the time at home, just acting like a total goofball with my family. So there was that. But my first sort of artistic endeavor was drawing and painting. And so as a young person, the first time my mom asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, I said James Bond. And then the second time she asked me, I said I wanted to be an artist. So I was always artistically inclined. My teachers figured that out about me pretty early on. And I remember when I would see shows with actors, I always had a lot of opinions about what was happening on screen and who was good and who was bad. And
that's shocking.
Yeah. There's a lot of like the Bollywood movies. I could not stand them because I was like, this is not acting. Like,
no, it's not. I mean, for anyone, if you've never seen a Bollywood movie, I highly suggest you go watch one because it is, I mean, a spectacle of all spectacles. Some really of them are just...
It's its own thing. And as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate what it is and understand it better and appreciate it. But as a young person, it certainly wasn't like, you know, I see like Meryl Streep in a movie and I'm like, yeah. And then I would see a Bollywood movie and I would be aghast. aghast. Anyway, so then I discovered acting in elementary school after the artist dreams. Then I tried acting and I was like, oh, I'm good at this and I love it. And so then I was just confused about which one I wanted to be. But of course, as I got older and became a teenager and saw that, in the school plays, even though my teacher says I'm really good, he's just not going to cast me in the lead part because of the way I look. And so, no, I never thought that I could be an actor.
Yeah.
And then, as a teenager, I saw this movie starring Sarita Choudhury and Denzel Washington called Mississippi Masala. And that changed everything. I was like, wait, maybe I could. She's doing it. And so that was like the seed. And then I went to art school and that was really, really hard.
What was did you draw? What was
yeah. I drew and I painted.
Okay.
I wanted to be a painter. And I still painted when I was doing Battlestar when I started.
I vaguely remember that.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we probably did.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And that was actually a good way to start my acting career, was with something else that I loved to do that was mine. Because as you know, so much of what we do as actors depends on so many other people agreeing to want us doing it with them. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if I've lost the thread.
No, you were talking about representation and how, the moment you saw someone who looked like you on screen, that you realized that, I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
But you still went to art school.
I still went to art school because it was one person.
Yeah. Yes. She did it.
Yeah. I was like,
we can all do it.
Probably painting is safer.
Which I then
hysterical. Then later on, then I met sort of more actors. Then I started to see a little bit more color on the screen and then thought the exact opposite, which was, well, all the painters I know are definitely starving. But now that I'm in this acting class and I'm seeing that a lot of actors that I know are actually paying their rent, well, maybe I'll go this way, give this a shot for a while, and I'll still paint.
Were you born and raised in Vancouver?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, North Van.
Yeah. And that sort of, I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be speaking out of turn, but I feel like a diversity in hiring started in Vancouver sooner than it started in other places, because Vancouver, there were a lot of American productions coming up to Canada.
Yeah.
And the pool seemed deeper with diversity up there. And I always felt like productions that were filmed up in Canada looked different than the ones that filmed down in the United States.
That's interesting. I can't say that I have compared side by side. What I do know and think is that a lot of diversity making its way into productions began with, the bit parts. We didn't get to audition for the lead roles.
Right.
And if we did, it was usually just because they had to tick a box saying that we were given the opportunity, but we wouldn't get cast. So, they'd have white people in all the lead roles, and then they have to make their show look a little bit more diverse. So then they cast us in the supporting.
Right.
Which is, a mixed bag.
Does that anger you, or was it something that was just normal?
Yeah, it was just normal. And because there was so little out there and for whatever reason, the way in my makeup and societal, all the different conditionings and what have you, I did feel like, sort of just lucky to be considered and grateful for any opportunity and just wanting to do the thing that I love to do.
Right.
But then you do that for a minute and you want more because you're trained to do more. And you've been told by people who know what they're talking about that you're very good and that you can do more. So honestly, that's where I kind of got to probably around the time of Battlestar, and I'm still there.
Yeah.
I would guess we all are. we all get a taste of what we love to do. And I think we just want more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's healthy. I think that's, the natural desire for expansion.
Right.
Yeah.
So your parents, because it's your brother and yourself, right?
Yeah.
When your parents, when they were raising an artist, because your parents have always seemed very welcoming and accepting of their children. Were your parents like, yay, go be a starving artist? Woohoo! Or were they a little like, are you sure you don't want to be a lawyer or
I was
something
very
a dentist?
Yeah.
Job security.
I was very lucky. My parents were the black sheeps of their own family.
Mm.
So, they had a lot of against all odds in their life. And they were asked to limit themselves in many ways that hurt their hearts and split their families apart, quite frankly.
Really?
And yeah, there was a lot of difficulty they had to go through. And so they absolutely did not want to do that to us.
Mm.
And my mom to this day still tells me, she's like, well, I had a talk at that time when you were thinking about doing such and such. And I told your father, do you want to tell her what to do or do you want your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to have her in your life? And also, I think they knew that they were very strong-willed, and so they knew what they had created.
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, they were like, well, she's going to do what she's going to do. And we want her to win. My dad said, okay, that's a very difficult industry. That's a really hard thing. He didn't even know what it was at first. And he would just, he would see me on stage and he goes, that was weird. Good job, Betty. And this means daughter.
Yeah.
But that was really weird. Just seeing me be someone else.
Oh my God. I don't think I ever had the pleasure of meeting your father.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. He came to set a couple of times, but he was kind of shy and just kind of.
I mean, I might have seen him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I ever had the pleasure of actually meeting him.
Yeah. He was a sweet man.
Mm.
Yeah. And very determined and strong-willed. And so what he said to me is, okay, if this is what you want to do, you go for it. You do it. You have our full support, 100%, and you go and be the best actor you can be.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that is that thing, right? Is that, having children of my own now, it's because my parents had a very similar reaction to me moving here, and I had their support, and their support was invaluable to me finding success on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what it is about parents that do the opposite of that. That control to such an extent the outcome of their child's, the supposed outcome of their child's life, that they then push them away. I don't get that. I would much rather have happy children than the child that I think I should have.
I think it's the programming. They're just operating from this thing of I'm doing right by my child. And maybe they haven't seen the blow up. It was pretty dramatic what my family went through. So they knew what was at risk.
What did your family go through, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, they were forbidden to be married.
Oh, were they supposed to be an arranged marriage or something? Or why forbidden?
I still don't really, I wonder if we'll ever know the real reason why.
Yeah.
But it was for whatever reason, they were like, no, not you two. And stupid reasons. They thought my mom wasn't pretty enough for my dad. I wonder if it was financial because my mom came from a rich family and my dad was from a poor family. And you couldn't possibly have a woman with more money than with a.
But you'd think that your mother's money would have then superseded their opinions that she wasn't pretty enough.
You would think.
You'd think they would have been like, well, okay. Crazy.
But I don't
in
really
Vancouver?
know.
No.
In the Fiji Islands.
In the Fiji Islands?
Yeah, dude. I think that is actually on the internet about me.
Really?
My family is from the Fiji Islands.
Why? How? And I have shown my lack of geography knowledge. many times on this show. But when did your family live in the Fiji? Is your mother Fijian?
So the British.
No, your mother's not.
Katee.
Oh, shit.
The British.
That's all you needed to say.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm so white sometimes. I don't understand anything. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah. And my mom, my amazing mother, you know, in that explosion of marrying somebody you're not forbidden to be married to, it was a rough time. And so she came to Canada. She had a friend who moved to Calgary. Of all the places, or was it Edmonton? I think it was Calgary.
I feel like a lot of people, though, I do. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of foreigners that move to Canada are like middle of the country. And I don't know why.
I have no idea. I wonder if it was like some job thing at the time. They were like, we need employment in
I don't know.
This city. I have no idea. But she said she had come. She was looking for a new life, you know. And she saw the trees and the snow on the trees. And she said, yeah, this is it. I'm moving here. Of course, they didn't come to Calgary. They went to Vancouver. Then they had my brother. He was also born in the Fiji Islands. And they waited a long time, 9 years.
To have you.
Yeah. So,
have you ever been to Fiji?
I have.
Do you have family there?
I do.
What's that like?
It is a different world. I understood my family so much more when I went there.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
We're island people, for one thing. Like, I understood why we felt different from the Indians in India.
Yeah.
Because island vibes.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, like, if someone like you on an island makes complete sense to me.
Well, thank you.
Like, it does. Like, you feel like an islander. You really do. You have like or at least a stereotypical, what I view as an islander, which is a person that is free and loves nature and loves what Mother Earth offers.
Thank you,
That
Katee.
has an appreciation for that.
Yeah.
And sort of like the metaphor of the ebbs and the flows of the water and life. And that makes sense to me for you.
Well, let's do a project in Hawaii and just move there.
Is anybody hiring? Because I would love to move to Hawaii for a while. I would.
Let's do it.
So they moved to Vancouver.
Yeah.
They have your brother. They wait almost 10 years to have you. Were you in an accident?
No, I was
like
prayed
very
for.
planned. Really?
Yeah.
Did your mother have fertility issues, or was it just really just
I
like
think
they
it was,
just didn't know when and knew that it would happen when it was time?
Yeah, just in her day and what she'd been raised with, she thought, oh God, I might be too old. Maybe I waited too long. But they wanted to be settled and in a different place before they brought another life into the world. So
responsible.
Yeah.
How old was your mother when she had you?
I'm very bad at math, but I want to say like late 30s.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
How like that was considered very old.
Yeah.
My mom had me at 34.
Yeah.
And she thought that she was too old to have more children. She always wanted more children. And she thought she was too old. My husband's, Robin's mother had him, I believe, at 39. And I don't think it ever crossed her mind that she was too old.
Right.
Because she wasn't. You're not, you know?
No.
Like, if your body can, you know, get pregnant and carry life, you are not too old. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So then little Rekha comes into the world. And, you know, you have a very close relationship with your brother too.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were really close as kids because, you know, he kind of was like a third parent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because he must have, I mean, Jesus, he was probably in like high school by the time you were 4.
Yeah, I don't know the math exactly,
You know
but
what I mean?
he definitely changed my diapers and held my hand, walked me to school. And and then, you know, when I got to an age where I could kind of think about maybe was my brother cool or not, I was like, yeah, he's cool.
Was he like a professional skier or something?
Yeah, he was.
Crazy.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
which
so
is
cool.
Also, again, very out of the box, you know?
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
don't
that's so
even
cool.
think Indians are sporty, which is, a terrible stereotype. They don't exercise or
You
do
don't-
sports.
You don't jump.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We've always sort of wanted to have this conversation. Like, I know we've talked about it. We talked about it a long time ago, like having this discussion about this fear of saying something inappropriate on like this, fact-finding sort of quest to be an advocate for someone and to advocate for diversity and for not putting your foot in your mouth by putting your foot in your mouth sometimes and saying the wrong thing, to learn that it's the wrong thing. And,
Right.
and that's the only way to really, to know, and it's a scary conversation. We talked years ago, we talked about how scary of a conversation it is sometimes sitting on my side of this, because God forbid you say something offensive without realizing you're being offensive, or that's wrong, because I think when you're being offensive.
Well, but maybe
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like
saying unintentionally hurting someone's feelings by, continuing this like unintentional bigotry, unintentional.
Yeah. I mean,
what is the right word? I don't even know what the right word is, because I wouldn't describe myself as any of those things.
Of course not. Of course you're not.
No.
But we were raised in a culture that said a lot of things and came up with terminology that for people of color, that wasn't correct.
Yeah.
That was offensive and they had no idea, or they just didn't care, whatever it was. But you're a kid and you don't know, and you're raised just saying things and making jokes about certain stuff, and you haven't thought about it. And what's happening now is our culture is asking people to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I just watched an episode of Hacks.
Yeah.
Season 3.
Yes.
Did you watch that one?
I don't know if I've watched it yet. I smiled because I just saw Ming-Na Wen yesterday, and she's in Hacks, or was in Hacks as the agent, like the.
I'm just trying to remember if I've seen that episode or not.
Who
I think
she
I
plays.
have.
She saunters around with like her ass swishes all over. She's just gorgeous, but she like uses her curves and her sexuality, and she's just a fucking gorgeous woman in that show. They all are. They're all just wonderful. The
So
cast
gorgeous.
is beautiful and wonderful, but she's so good.
So Deborah Vance,
Yeah.
there's this supercut that comes out of her. I'm sorry, spoiler alert for anybody who's not up to date on season 3, of her jokes from back in the day.
Oh shit.
And a lot of them are,
Terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
And she starts off defending them, It's a joke.
Yeah.
And you don't apologize for jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that that's happening currently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love what they did.
Interesting. I need to watch it.
It's great. I mean, she found her way to humility and kindness and a value on human connection bigger than, whatever her ego needs were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever said anything that you kind of felt like you put your foot in your mouth when we've talked. Maybe you have, maybe that's why the conversation started. But your very clear love for humanity and love for me and all of that supersedes, I can correct somebody.
Yeah.
Or ask them to ask the questions to correct themselves.
Well, just the fact that it never occurred to me that like Indians lived in Fiji.
Well, a lot of people don't know history. I am one of those people. I don't know a lot about history.
No.
So,
Robin knows. Well, Canadians know a lot more about history than Americans.
Do they?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel like even geography, like sometimes I'll open my mouth and Robin will be like, please don't say that. You don't know where Switzerland is. Just kidding. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's over there. It's over by Germany, right? Yeah. And I'm like, by Norway. He's like,
I'm not good at it either.
I have no idea.
We're artists.
I know. I don't need to.
No.
I just need to pretend like I know. I just need to pretend. So when you got Battlestar, did you have any idea that it was going to be, that she was going to be who she was to the show?
No, I didn't.
She was one of the final 5, right?
Yeah.
Thought so. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Of course she was.
Yeah.
I mean, she was pivotal.
I had no idea. I knew this was my little journey with it. When I got the audition, I had already auditioned for a couple roles on the show.
A lot of Canadians were very similar in the sense that they were like, I've auditioned for every character on this show.
Oh, yeah. I think I just auditioned for 2.
Okay.
And I was already struck by, prior to those 2 auditions, I was like, oh, this is the show that Grace is on.
Yeah.
And I think it's a remake of some cheesy show from the 70s.
Yeah.
That was the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I was in the room, and back in the day when we had producers in the room.
You mean real auditions?
Real auditions.
Touched human beings?
Yeah. And I,
in their eyes?
Very quickly on those 2 auditions was like, I don't know what's happening. These people are awesome. These people have great taste. I don't remember.
Like, was Michael, was the director in the room at all?
I think it was like once the producer was, and once I think actually, I think both times the directors were in the room. But I can't remember, you know. And they were for, supporting roles. And then when I got the breakdown for Tory, I got really excited because I already knew that there was something special about the show. And it was one of those things where you're like, oh, I know this person and this is fun. This is a fun person. And so I went in there, did my thing. It was fun and got a call back. I can't remember if there was like a couple callbacks, but anyway, it was the final round and I came into the hall and it was the first time, Katee, that I wasn't in a hallway with other Asian and South Asian actors.
Yeah.
It was the first time that I was in the hallway waiting with other actresses that I looked up to. And I got really excited and really scared.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm up against these women?
Yeah.
For this part?
Yeah.
And I like went into a stairwell and like prayed. That's how scared I was.
Yeah.
I was like, give me strength. I can do this. I can do this.
Sweet baby Jesus. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the prayer worked. But I was thrilled, and I still didn't know like that I was going to get to work with Mary McDowell.
But did you have any idea how many episodes it was, or how many was it?
At that point, it was only 2 episodes.
Oh wow!
And at the end of the second episode, I think it was my like last day on set, and Michael Reimer said, "You'll be back."
I think that's how they did it, so they wouldn't have to pay people.
Oh,
I don't know. That's not true. I'm speaking out of turn, but I feel like a lot of times, our show, Battlestar, was one of the first shows that contracted Canadian actors. That like we had so many Canadian actors that were not an episode here, an episode there, but that they were being held with contracts.
Right.
And we had so many of them. And some of them that were too, like Callum Keith Rennie did not have one because they couldn't, he was like, it will cost you this. And they went,
right.
We can't afford that.
Right.
We will call you if we can.
Yeah.
But that was, and there were so many young actors on our show, including everyone that wasn't Canadian. A lot of us started in and around that time. So it's not like we had huge quotes or anything. So it's, the show was quite inexpensive to make because of that.
Yeah.
But I think that was sort of a way they tried people out,
That was my sense, was like, oh, you're a good fit. We like you. We'll keep you around.
Yeah.
And, I just hoped that there would be a lot more. I had no idea that I would get folded into the main event.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's just testament to how good you are and how much people like being around you. Because it wouldn't have been that way if you'd been an asshole.
I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
Did you, when Battlestar ended, did you feel like you were in a better place in your career? Or did you feel like the industry hadn't caught up yet?
What do you mean by the industry?
Well, I guess I mean like, you were playing, like you said, you were playing a character that on paper was not described as being anything.
Yeah.
You were just Tory.
Yeah.
There wasn't a tagline that said, this age, this color, this. It was just Tory. And I think that Battlestar was really good with that, including Starbuck, in the sense that she was not described in any way at all. She was just, Starbuck. So what I mean is, did you find that when you came out of that, you were then still categorized as a brown actress?
Right.
And that is the term I can use, right? Like you call yourself brown, right?
I'd say Indian.
Do you say Indian?
I think, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I probably say different things at different times.
Okay.
South Asian.
Yeah.
Brown, Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Woman of color.
Yeah.
Sort of what I tend to think.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm fine with that term.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking.
Hence the original the original statement.
Yeah.
But so that's what I mean. Like that you were still then subjected to the women that look like you play these roles.
Yeah, there was still that. I mean, it was a mixed bag. It definitely opened up my career and my life in so many ways, both personally and professionally. And I was so grateful to be on not only like just a hit show, but a fantastic hit show.
Yeah.
Like so good.
Yeah.
We won a freaking Peabody Award.
I know. Who can say that?
Not many people.
No.
So, so there was a level of people knowing my work now that they hadn't before, and a confidence that I had coming with that, working at the level that we were working with all of you, that boosted my confidence. But then I was, sort of again met with, have this vision of like, well, now the next thing is going to be, no, I'm still in this machine. And there were some wins, but there were also some like, no, you're kind of right back to square one. And I think a lot of actors know what that's like. Mm-hmm. I think, lucky in the way that a lot of people of color who are actors get really pigeonholed into playing their particular nationality or race. And I really was clear right from the beginning that I did not want to be that. Mm-hmm. And so I did say no to things that were overtly Indian.
Was that hard?
It wasn't, because I didn't care at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, youth.
And I had painting and, I didn't care about being poor and whatever, And I think it worked well for me, because for whatever reason, I just didn't get as many of those auditions. I just didn't. I hardly had to say no to them. It's like I said no to them once or twice, and that was like, oh, okay, she's not doing that. So I did get into the like doctor stereotype and that kind of stuff that was like, again, not on the page, has to be something, but we'll slot them here.
It also happens to women of a certain age. You start to naturally just play more cops and lawyers.
Yeah.
Doctors. You know what I mean? Because you can't play the ingenue anymore.
Right. Which I never played.
Yeah.
I went straight to, my very first part was playing the coroner on Dark Angel. And I got to set. Jessica Alba was like, is she old enough? You couldn't have possibly gone through medical school. And I just was like, shh, don't tell them. Stop, Jessica. I was like, I have a deep voice and I'm brown. Girl,
shut it. Right?
And she did.
She did. You know what it's like. Shut up. The other thing that I was going to say was that science fiction does something really beautiful to women people of color, that because it's fiction and it's not real, we were allowed to inhabit characters of different standing that didn't intimidate people.
Right.
Because it's make-believe. You know, like you're not playing a real fighter pilot. You're playing a fighter pilot in a science fiction show, so it's not real.
Right.
So we can suspend our disbelief that you, a woman, would be the best fighter pilot.
Yeah.
And so I think that science fiction does that beautiful thing where it allowed us to play characters that we wouldn't normally get to play and write storylines that wouldn't normally get written if it was based on, like, you know, The West Wing or something. So I think that could be a reason why you maybe didn't get a lot of those pigeonholed roles like afterwards, or maybe, you know, during even. I found myself, I skipped a whole sort of like stereotypical blonde thing that I never really fell into. I started to a little bit and then got Battlestar and then never did that again.
Yeah.
People think that I'm so, like, at times much older than I am because I've been around for so long and I've never played a character with an age. So they really had a hard time, you know, pinpointing me. So that's, you know, that could be another one of the reasons that's why science fiction is so great.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure you've heard me say this over the years. Like, I joke, but, you know, I feel like, oh, I went into sci-fi because in the future, nobody's racist. The elusive future.
I've never heard you say this.
You haven't?
No, but that's literally what that, like, was what I meant.
Yeah.
That's basically what I was saying.
No one's sexist. No one's racist.
No.
In the future.
In the future, women can succeed.
So we get to play humans when we're in sci-fi.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love that.
I loved how strong growing up. I loved how all the strong female characters that I could find were in science fiction.
Yeah.
And action movies.
Yeah.
That's where they were. You know, the woman wasn't being rescued. She was saving the world from aliens.
Yeah.
You know, like she was doing one-armed pull-ups and, like, you know, these crazy things, and, you know, fighting next to Hercules and all of these crazy women that I grew up, like, idolizing, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, like, what woman exists who isn't some kind of superhero? Like,
I mean,
that's the truth of women.
I think so too. I mean, I think so, but I am biased. So after Battlestar, I want to skip forward because I think that this last, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like your career in the last 10 years has really, like, you're cooking with gas, it seems like. Like, it really does. It seems like every time I turn on my TV and turn around, you're flying someplace else to go shoot something else, and you're working, like, nonstop. From the outside looking in, anyway.
Yeah. Well,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah. I don't know if it's been 10.
Maybe 5.
I think it's been, honestly, Katee, things were really, really hard from about, I don't know, 2012 maybe, until I did your show in 2018. No, because we had masks on.
Oh, shit, 2020.
I mean, I had a few things.
Right, so but it was season 2.
It was,
because season 1, I met Robin.
Yeah. I mean, there were a few things. Maybe I'm going back too far, but it was slow for a while. And getting your show was the beginning of this new little chapter.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Thank you. That was like an Eddie voice. You're welcome.
It was an Eddie ego too. Of course it was. I had so much fun with you on that show.
Me too.
I did.
I was so grateful to be, like, reunited with you and working with you. And especially at that time where the world was exploding.
Yeah.
And it was so great.
Yeah.
It was so great. And I think something happened during the pandemic. Well, I know, we all know, you know, George Floyd, all of that. They're a real waking up through such horrible tragedy, but a lot of waking up about the importance of lifting up people of color and giving us the shots that we deserve. And I think that's why I've been working more.
Yeah.
Maybe not entirely. I'm sure there's other things, other magic of the universe, and quite honestly, patience. Just the simple fact that I haven't given up.
Yeah, of course.
We all have ups and downs, and I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to any of it, except for if you just stick it out for long enough, you will continue to work.
Someone told me when I first moved here, and I don't even know if it's true or not, but they said that 99% of people who move here every year quit. So if you could just stay.
Yeah.
There's only 1% you're up against, because you're better off than the people who just moved here because you have more experience than them.
Yeah.
So if you can just every single year just stay, eventually you'll start working. And I was like, oh, that actually, like, and I don't even know if it was true, but it was something tangible that like made sense to me, that I was like, oh, you just mean I have to not give up. Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Out of fucking spite. Like,
yeah. Do you think you were driven by spite?
I was driven by like the thought that like, oh, you don't think I can do this? You watch.
Yeah.
You watch. I'll do this.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I was driven by was, growing up and not seeing myself represented. And I just didn't want any other little brown girl to have to watch the one movie with the one person that kind of looked like them. I was like, no, I have to be part of that change. Every time I wanted to quit, I thought about that. And I said, no.
But that is important.
Yeah.
Like, that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's amazing. Like, now I'm there's still a lot more to do, but I love that I can kind of look at that goal and go, you know what? At this point, I could walk away. And there's enough other Indian women working that no other brown girl is going to have to go through that again. In America.
Unless you all have the same idea.
Right. But I mean, there's progress.
Yes.
But it's great so that now that goal is sort of achieved, where there's not just the one anymore.
Yeah.
I can move on to other goals.
Do you see lasting change in this industry? Like, have you talked to other people that are not represented, and is there a collective understanding that it is enough, or that there's more?
Everybody thinks that there's more. We all agree that there's more. And, so grateful for the people behind us that it doesn't have to be as hard for them. That we can keep the conversation going more and get rid of the stereotypes.
I'm going to wait till the doorbell stops ringing at Sharon's house. What do you say to the people that disagree with that? What do you say to the people that are like, it's too much, it's taking jobs away? What about the white male who no longer has a job?
I say, first, look at the stats. You still have most of the jobs. Just, it's in ink on paper. Like, you still have most of the jobs.
Yeah.
And also, like, grow up a little bit, please. Like, open your mind. You see that way you're feeling right now? Of like feeling like something's been taken away from you?
Yeah.
I've never been lucky enough to feel like something's been taken away from me.
Yeah. It breaks my heart. It's because I think that is perfectly said. That feeling of never being given a shot, Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about Star Trek.
Okay.
Because I feel like you perfectly wrapped that up right there. Well, I want to ask one more question.
Okay.
What Do you see as another thing that can be done to continue to open doors for people of color and marginalized groups in our industry? If anything.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I think it's about getting more people of either more people of color or more people, like, it's fine if you're white, just be open-minded. If you're the one making the decisions.
Thank you for making it okay to be white. I have felt guilty about it lately. Just kidding. I'm fucking kidding. Obviously. But yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
plenty. I mean, my partner is a white male, you know, and he has no lack of imagination whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or understanding or compassion or empathy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a person of color in a position of hiring to understand that there's just some other stories that need to be told.
Yeah.
That would serve society as a whole.
Yeah.
Including white people.
Yeah.
To be told from other perspectives. You know, and like just simply the fact that for my entire career, I've known that, well, if they've already got a brown girl on the show, it's highly unlikely they're going to hire
another
me
one.
because, well, she doesn't have a sister or you can't play the mom. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we all have to be related? Like, I'm pretty sure you've got 3 white girls in a movie who are the stars and they're not related. Are you confused if we're all brown and not related? This is literally the conversations I'm still having about, like, can we write a script starring 3 brown girls? Or is that just going to never get made?
It would just really confuse people.
Exactly.
Rekha, because they would the entire time, they would be, I'm sorry, who's who?
Yeah. Which one is which?
So stupid. I'm sorry.
And, you know, at the same time, it's like, I understand if you're not as used to the faces or something, maybe we do all look kind of the same. It's awful, but there's some truth to that. Okay, so what's the remedy? We'll just get more faces out there.
More faces, yeah.
And then you'll start to be able to tell the difference.
Make it more normal, you know?
I think.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like, I just watched this great documentary about a Supreme Court justice in Canada. And she fought so hard to change legislation for minors? It's not the right word. Minorities. Ha-ha! Couple more syllables.
For minors, I'm like, for the men in the, the people in the trenches digging for coal.
Those kind of minors.
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking like people are too young.
Oh, you were thinking minor, like men or children.
Well, I was thinking like minorities, but my brain just was like, no, we're just doing the 2 syllables. Anyway.
Yes, you mean the minorities.
Minorities.
Yeah.
And, you know, 80s, people were aghast. Why should we give women more opportunities than men? Well, no, you were giving them more to make up for the fact that society doesn't see them as equals. And so we can't treat them as equals. We have to lift them up in some way so that they can actually function as equals.
Yeah.
Because equality in the society that we have created does not exist. And she passed legislation. And it was so inspiring. And she was like, you know, a white, Jewish, cis woman.
Well, this is one of the issues with reproductive rights. You start stripping away the rights of women.
Yeah.
And their ability to have children, the timelihood in which they do have children, forcing them to have children.
Yeah.
You take away their choices. And if you take away a woman's choice, many people believe the only place for her is having children.
Yeah.
And that is a way of getting women out of the workplace.
Yeah.
Because if women have to have children, and listen, women do have to have children. Like if women stop having children, society will end. I mean, I do understand that we need people having children. Like, you know, we have, of course.
Far cry from that being a problem.
100%. Well, there are people that, if you listen to, I think Elon says that we're not having enough children. But anyway, but if you give women the choice to control that, they have more power to go out into the workplace and accomplish things and accomplish their dreams.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want that. A lot of people don't want equality.
Yeah. It's weird. We literally came out of the womb the same.
Isn't it crazy?
It's so bizarre.
I had a comment on a podcast that I did that said that my children are abominations because they were born with IVF.
Oh.
And via surrogacy.
Oh.
And I just couldn't understand the hate that some people think is acceptable and valid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you actually have the balls to say that.
Yeah,
It's
that is some
shocking to me.
serious Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So how did Star Trek come to you? I'd like to talk about that. And did you know that character was going to be, how many seasons did you do?
Oh, I didn't. No, did I? Okay. I did a couple seasons, but not many.
Really?
No, I was hardly in the show.
Really?
Yeah. It was one of those things where, they're so hush-hush.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that it was a major supporting, that I was going to be part of the team.
Yeah.
But that they didn't, because they're so secretive, they planned to kill this character off pretty early on. And I don't know why. I wonder if they felt so bad about it that they killed me 3 times on that show.
And just never had they never followed through? They always pulled it? Or did your character die on camera 3 times? I've never seen it.
I've died on camera 3 times.
Did you?
So I think it was they were like, how are we going to bring her back? We really did kill her too soon. I don't know if it was that. But then they brought me back again and then killed me again. And then, well, let's do it a 3rd time. Because that third time's a charm. So charming. Listen, I loved being a part of it.
Yeah.
Was my heart broken that they kept wanting to kill me? Yes. Do I love that I'm part of that family and that legacy? Yes. A small part, but I'm sure there's some record for least amount of episodes. There's a ratio, how many killings per, how many episodes. Yeah. I think I've won a prize.
I'm sure you've won something. But you were in Star Trek.
I was in Star Trek.
Did you grow up a nerd?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were a nerd, but a science fiction nerd. Did you watch Star Trek?
I watched Star Trek. I liked TNG.
Yeah, of course. Everyone did.
Everyone did. And then, but as a little girl, I watched the original reruns of the original. My brother got me watching them.
I didn't know they were reruns. I thought that Kirk was only 15 years older than me. I thought I legitimately was going to marry him.
Aww.
I found him so attractive.
Yeah.
As a child.
That's hilarious.
He just I think that he was, my dad was blonde and sort of similar build. And I don't know, for whatever reason, he reminded me of my father. Not that I'm attracted to my father, but I think we, that was what a man was to me, was my dad,
Yeah.
And Kirk was always sort of that. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
Were you a nerd?
Total nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad raised me on all of that stuff.
So great.
On all of that stuff.
It really did a lot for me. I mean, that was a seed too. That was an early seed. Because my brother was I think I was watching Full House or something. And he was like, why are you watching this? can I show you something else that's way cooler?
You're like, cut it
And
out.
I was like, fine, because I know he's cool. So, okay, whatever. I like this show. And so he put on a little Star Trek one rerun. And he said, I remember him telling me that the doors, he said, there's somebody on either side of those doors pulling them open and shut.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was in.
Yeah. You're like, wait, what?
What?
You mean this make-believe?
They're doing these cool old school like things to make outer space seem real. And I was in. And I loved that it was like cheesy, campy or whatever. And then I saw Lieutenant Uhura. And I was like, what? Her back then?
Yeah.
I think that was the original seed.
Back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And beautiful and all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was all those years later, way before I got Star Trek, just from Battlestar doing the conventions and being in, I think it was Chicago, and meeting Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
I was like, full circle.
Wasn't she lovely?
She was so lovely.
Yeah.
And she was so kind to me and, was so happy for me that I had a career and encouraged me to keep going and told me about her time with Martin Luther King. Like, she was there. She was there. So
That's
inspiring.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I met her, I think a handful of times.
Yeah.
But very, very briefly. Very briefly. She was wonderful. What do you consider your best role?
Yet to come.
Good answer.
Yeah. I mean, Battlestar was great because it was Battlestar.
Yeah.
There's one show that I did after that. It was just a guest spot, but I had so much fun doing it that I've often gone back to it as my favorite part. And it was just one episode.
Of what?
Of a show called Sanctuary. Do you know it? With Amanda Tapping.
Oh, yeah. Amanda Tapping show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does she run a good ship?
Great ship. She's a wonderful human being. And yeah, great people on the show. But it was a guest spot. And what I loved about it, it was this character of a journalist. And she was like a real motor mouth. And it was like action-y, exciting, and funny. I got to be funny.
Well, because you're funny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And nobody knows.
I know. It's true. It's very true.
And I had so much fun. And I remember like a year or so after that being in the room for an audition in LA and having a director before I started my audition saying to me that he saw my episode and said, "You're fantastic. You drove that entire episode. And I loved your work in it."
I love that.
And it was so smart of him to tell me that just before I started.
Right before, with the confidence
building. It was so
building.
kind.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I miss auditioning in the room.
Yeah.
I really do. Auditioning on tape was something that Canadian actors were very good at because you had to do it.
Yeah.
American actors here in Los Angeles, we were so spoiled. And that every once in a while, if we were on locations shooting something else. And
you really didn't have to?
Never had
much?
to.
Oh,
never
wow.
had to. I just started having to put myself on tape during COVID.
Right.
For the first time. And I hate it with a passion. Like if I could send every tape that I record physically with like a pile of dog shit with it, I would. Number one, just as a metaphor for my performance on tape.
But also because you have a lot of it at your disposal.
I have a lot of it. But I also want them to know what I think of the process.
Right.
That it's a load of shit.
Yeah.
I think it's so stupid. It drives me nuts. I will never be cast off tape.
No?
Oh, no, it'll never happen. And the day that it happens, what do I hate? What do I hate to eat? Sardines.
No.
They make me throw up in my mouth.
Okay.
If I ever book off of tape,
Yeah.
I will eat a can of sardine.
And I'll film it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll put it online.
Deal.
It'll never happen. God, I hope it doesn't happen now. I fucking eat sardines. What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do as an actor? What is something that, like, I mean, I'm sure it's everything, but like,
it is everything. Like, people ask me, okay, dream role. What would you do? I'm like, I have like 10 dream roles. That's why I got into this, because I don't want to be one person.
I know.
But I definitely want to do comedy.
Yeah.
I want to do
Hacks.
I want to do Hacks.
Oh God, you'd be good on that show.
Thank you. I want to do Fleabag.
Oh my God, she's so fucking good.
Yeah, she's amazing. Anything that was like that, I would just die and go to heaven.
Oh God, I love it.
I'd love to be on something like Killing Eve,
all that good shit. God, you're naming like all my favorite stuff.
Blonde,
Atomic Blonde. I know. Have you ever done big fight scenes?
A little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit. And in fact, speaking of Star Trek, so one of my heroes as a young actress was Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that.
Yeah, I started taking a bit of Kung Fu because I knew that I loved Kung Fu movies, and I discovered her, and I watched, almost every movie that she'd been in, and I would like have scenes that she was in that I would just rewind to like try and understand how amazing her moves were.
Do you still know Kung Fu?
A little bit.
Really? That's crazy to me.
I mean, very basic.
Yeah, but still, that's cool.
It is cool. It's enough that when I get a fight scene on set, the stunt team is very happy because it's not going to take them as long to teach me the moves. But could I defend myself? No.
Oh, no, dear. You don't need to defend yourself.
No,
this is America.
That was never.
You could just buy a gun.
Right. Right. Yeah. And to any psychos out there, I'm lying. I can defend myself.
I can completely defend myself.
Yeah.
We have talked about getting Ginny into martial arts.
Yeah.
Because it is such number one, it's a phenomenal discipline, but also the ability for her to be able to protect herself is really important, especially now that she has a younger brother.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll need it. I'm sure she'll need it. Yeah. That would be really cool. Have you, now that, your partner is a writer, do you guys talk about writing something for you?
We've talked about it a little bit, and I have, something that I'm, what do you call it? Swaddling for a while now.
Yes.
Yeah, and we throw around ideas here and there. We need to put them into action. This is a very weird time in the industry to be able to put anything into action. So it feels very suffocating, if you will. Yeah. Regardless, I'm still, chatting with people and trying to move some ideas forward.
This industry is everyone at home has heard me talk about it, probably ad nauseum, but it is shifting. This industry is different. It is different. I think it's changing into a new normal. Hopefully not, but I think it is. And I think a lot of people are reevaluating what it is they want their life to look like. And if that includes the industry, because it may not be conducive to financial security anymore for anyone. I'm not talking just actors. I'm talking about writers, directors, casting directors, crews, everyone that has been in this business, I think is seeing a shift in this business.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
yeah, I don't even know what to think.
No, neither do I. Have you ever thought about directing?
I have.
I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at this point, some of these ideas that I have percolating, I would like to, at least do a short or something soon so that I can kind of chew on it.
Yeah.
Get a sense of it. And then hopefully if you book a series, then you get it built into your contract that you get to shadow and
I know
and learn and give it a go.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Is the next opportunity, like book something and then say I'd like to direct season 2.
Yeah, I think
get a
you'd
season
be great.
2. I don't know. I don't like actors enough.
No?
To want to listen to them whine. I'm just kidding. It's sort of true, actually.
Okay.
No,
I get that you don't like whiners, but you love people and you love, like, a lot of your closest friends are actors.
they're all actors.
Yeah.
I don't like any of you. No, I don't. You know what I don't like is I don't. I think I would be a very, very good artistic director. What I don't know if I would be very good at is cinematography.
Yeah.
I don't know lenses and frames and things like that. I'd have to learn all of that. But I do believe that I could.
But you don't have to learn it all either.
No, I could just put Ryan McMaster next to me and force him to put the camera someplace.
But a lot of directors do that, where they're more like storytellers.
Yeah, yeah. And Eddie said back in the day, I'll never forget this. Eddie almost is so full of beauty and knowledge and advice and wisdom and he simplifies things, and he simplified acting for me back in the day when I didn't really know what I was doing. And he simplified directing, and he said, just put the camera where the story is. You're a storyteller.
Yeah.
Don't think about the shot or the lens or the this or the that. Just put the camera where the story is, and then you'll be able to tell the story.
Yeah.
And have your DP do all the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. What kind of stories would you tell?
I think something like All the Things I Love. All those shows that I just named.
Yeah.
I would try to make, something that was ultimately me, or some part of me, I think is what would come out. What do I love? I love people. I love freedom. I love looking at oneself honestly and understanding where your bullshit is and getting rid of it, not getting stuck. I don't know. I get excited by people going further than they think they can go. And then I get excited by beauty and funniness. And there's a thing that I've started sort of tracking lately, which is this level of engagement. Like, there's a certain thing that happens in my body when I feel a level of engagement. I feel delighted. And I feel like your whole body kind of comes alive when you're like that, Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, maybe that's all I need to track in order to know that I'm on the right path.
That's your bullshit meter? That's like your thing. Like if you get the butterflies in the stomach, that's your instinct.
Yeah. Or I just feel like super engaged in something. Then I'm like, oh, this is good. Whatever this is.
Yeah.
Because my tastes are varied and wide. But if I get excited about something and I get engaged with it, then I'm like, there's something here. And I have to just trust that that's going to be of value to share that, to follow that in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that too esoteric?
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like that, go toward happiness.
Yeah.
Go away from pain.
Yeah. And I feel like there's so much out there in the world that takes us away from that because we start doing what we think we should do or what society would have us do, or doubting ourselves and our value and or being led from ego or all that stuff. And it's like, nah, it's just, for me, like, what makes me giggle and get excited?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You only have one life,
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been wonderful. This has been a really great conversation. I hope that everyone listening has gotten to know you a little bit better, but also I think that this is an important conversation to continue having about representation and diversity and things of those natures. But also, good actors should work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, art is art is art. We need it.
Yeah. God, we need it.
We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that you're out there bringing your art to the world, as I get so much from it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean it.
Yeah. From your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Katee.
Bye, guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Sackhoff Show. I mean, you didn't go anywhere. You've stayed. Thank you for staying for the hindsight. I appreciate it. As usual, I am Katee Sackhoff, and I have forced my producer, Jeff, to come and do the hindsight with me as usual. And he is so happy to be here.
Yeah, it sounds like you're forcing yourself to be here right now.
I am. My head, I've had a headache for 2 days and it won't go away. And it's killing me. It's killing me. We recorded Jonathan Frakes this morning and we were having technical difficulties on his side and I was praying that we wouldn't figure it out. Because I was like, I don't want to do this interview right now. I'm so tired. I'm just my head. And it happens every once in a while to me and I just have to wait it out.
Well, it's also later in the day on a Friday in August, which is the worst time to try to motivate yourself to do anything.
I don't even know what day it is, Jeff. I've got 2 children. I didn't even know it was Friday.
Wait, did you already shoot your guest starring thing?
I did. I think that might be part of the reason why I feel the way that I feel. But I flew to New York, went to sleep, woke up super early, at 4 o'clock in the morning to go, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, to go do wardrobe and the whole deal for an episode of Law and Order. And it was such a fun thing. We've talked about Dick Wolf on this show.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised that he has allowed me to be in his presence again after the last time. I did a pilot. For people that don't know, I did a pilot for Dick Wolf that went disastrously wrong a few years ago in 2010, I think. No, 2008, 2009, right after they took my thyroid out. I should never have gone back to work. It was so stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking that I was superhuman and it was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. And it was with Brian Cox and I wasted the opportunity, which sucks. But I did the best I could under the circumstances that I had. And, we didn't get picked up. And so I just assumed, and Dick also let me know that I was not his cup of tea. My acting style, if you will, was not his cup of tea, that I move too much. My face moves too much. My hands move too much. I'm too animated and that it's not very attractive. I've just made that nicer than how it came out at the time. And I was a bit surprised that my style of acting is now on Law and Order. So we'll see how it goes.
Modern times, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But it came at such a great time because our family we were about to lose our health insurance if I didn't work. So we were cutting it super close, right down to the wire. I've never been this close before to losing health insurance in 28 years in this business, 27 years. But I haven't worked for 2 years. Partly out of choice and then partly out of opportunity. But yeah, that was scary. But I got to work with this amazing actor. Do you know this actor, Chris Bauer?
No.
Been around for a long time, man. I'm sure you would know who he was. He was in True Blood. He was in For All Mankind. He's awesome. He's so fucking talented. Excuse my language. Why am I excuse my language? It's my show.
Yeah. So are all the children listening. Chris Bauer. Yeah, I know Chris Bauer. Of course I know Chris Bauer.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him right now, yeah.
So I play his lawyer. So I'm a defense attorney. My hope is that the powers that be for Law and Order see this and go, we should have Katee come back as this defense attorney every once in a while. That would be cool. That would be great because it was really fun. And not that I would be representing Chris a million times, but God, he's such a good actor and he's just so present and he's so interesting. He's so normal. And it was really nice to have to sit next to him for a long time.
Did you guys talk about Ron Moore?
We did a little bit. Mostly we just talked about life and the industry and how fucked up it is now. But the other really crazy thing is that Hugh Dancy is on this show, right? And Hugh Dancy is married to Claire Danes. And I get compared to Claire Danes all the time. So much so that one of the lead actresses from Law & Order walked into the makeup trailer in the morning and thought I was Claire. And was like, why is she getting her hair cut? But then Hugh saw me and she said, Hugh, doesn't she look like Claire? And he was like, didn't say anything. But I've heard it my entire career.
I can see it.
You're a lot like Claire Danes.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think we're both like super expressive. We both have those faces where they're like, should they get some Botox? They're really emoting.
I heard another actor that I've worked with told me that she did really well in foreign markets because she was very expressive, and the way her agent put it was, they like what you do with your face.
I love it. Yeah, if my agent called me and said that'd be great. But it was super fun. But I'm exhausted.
Well, I'm glad you're working.
Yeah. Worked.
And I guess if people out there, if we have some Law and Order fans out there, write to Dick Wolf and let him know we want to see more of Katee on the show.
It's true. It's true, everyone. You should do that. Chris and I joked about the fact that we've both been on Law and Order before. And it's one of those funny things that I played criminal the time before. And I believe he played someone else. I don't remember who he played, but we joke all the time, or everyone there was like, oh yeah, I've been in Law & Order like 4 times. I played 4 different people. No, me too. Because the show's been on for 25 years. Yeah. There's not enough actors to not have some rollover.
Meanwhile, all the actors listening to this podcast right now probably are saying, wait, what? What about me?
It's true.
Yeah.
But there are people that are used all the time on Law and Order and play many different characters. So yeah.
So maybe they'll bring you back maybe you'll be a criminal again next time. Or
you never know. I mean, she was a defense attorney. I could be a defense attorney and a criminal.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do some wild thing where they find out the defense attorney is actually the twin sister of the criminal you played originally and bring you back to play both parts.
They could. I don't remember who I played. I just remember that I had to go to New York to do Law and Order because they wanted to put me through the paces before they gave me the pilot right after my thyroid. So like 5 days or a week after they took my thyroid out, I was on a plane heading to New York with stitches still in my neck, and they had to put makeup over the top of it.
That seems bad.
Yeah, it was not. Like I said, I should never have been back to work that fast. I should never have gone back to work, but that's okay. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, well, here you are with me on a podcast.
Oh, I've risen.
Yes.
Just kidding, Jeff.
You and I both, Katee. Should we talk about more things that I'm unqualified to talk about, like race in Hollywood and women's issues in Hollywood?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that Rekha and I I don't know, when I started doing the YouTube channel the first time, so probably about 6 years ago, Rekha and I were talking about how she would love to have a conversation about race and all of its issues, potentially, like in our industry, like an open, honest conversation about it. And I was like, Rekha, but like with a white person. And I was like, Rekha, you got to understand something. It is really scary to have conversations with people of color because the last thing I would ever want to do is say something wrong. And we all know there's a lot of things you don't say, of course. Like, I'm not an asshole, like, and I'm also not racist. But I also believe that the way that someone, like even Rekha, when I talked to her and I said, you know, I've heard her refer to herself as brown before. Is that how you like to be referred to? I've called you brown before in conversation with you, but I also, like, if you've changed your mind, like, I don't want to offend you. I'm so conscious of that when I'm talking with someone who's living an experience that I don't understand. That time, it scares the crap out of me at times. But so I really wanted to create a space for Rekha to talk about that kind of stuff and just listen and try not to put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of that too is being comfortable with putting your foot in your mouth, but recognizing that you've done it and correcting yourself. Because I think often a reaction to something like that is a negative reaction. If you say something wrong, you double down on it, react negatively, or take it personally in a certain way. And really, at least in my opinion, I'm, again, a biased person on this, or at least not necessarily the most experienced in being on the other side of it, but it seems like it's about respecting people and listening to people and just being honest, and not so much about having to say the right thing at all times without being an asshole, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I think that also what's important on the other side is, and Rekha's really good about this, Katee O'Brien was good about this. When someone, i.e. myself, says something potentially wrong, please don't hold it against me. Correct me and help me learn, because I can't possibly know everything. I can't possibly know what it's like to be you and to have those experiences. So please correct me. But then my job is to, like you said, not then get my back up against a wall, double down and get like, because we do that. You're right. You do that. When you say something wrong, we get scared. We get offended, like almost offended, because we have, or if, you know, like where we get so defensive, and then you double down almost out of like embarrassment, you know, that you should have known better, or you feel like you should have known better. And so I think that that is the key to a conversation like that, is both people to be humble and kind and realize that you're both doing the best you can, I guess.
Yeah. And you're friends with Rekha. You're not somebody she's debating with or somebody that she's having an argument with. Like, you know, it's a space where you can say things, ask questions, you know, and find that comfort level with somebody. And I think you did a great job on this episode. You know, I think she talked a lot about her challenges and stuff. And, you know, I thought it was interesting how she was oscillating between being a painter or being an actor, and how at a certain point she looked at painting and was like, this will be easier.
I know. But then she was like, but I'll never make any money.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. You know, I think she said she's still painting, but I wonder if her acting career has actually helped her painting career.
That's a good question. I'm sure it has, from like an artist's perspective. Life experience makes you a better actor, you know? So I'm sure that her painting and the ability to stay creative and open, especially when she's not working, you know, any sort of creativity, like even like myself going down and, you know, I rented a pottery wheel so I could go down and make pots in my garage. But like,
as you do,
it's so fulfilling to just like go be connected to something and not really be in my own thoughts for a second. Something like where you get dirty and you have to be creative and you have to be focused, and it takes intuition and things like that. So I would imagine that it checks a lot of boxes for her.
How is your pottery skill?
I can make a cup. I can make a mean With a handle, Jeff.
Yeah. You should post some pictures of your pottery.
I made a plate the other day, like a bowl. I was really proud of myself because no one taught me how to do that. I just sort of like watched YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know how to take it off the bat. The bat is the board that it goes on.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I ruined it.
Oh.
But
well.
I now know that I could make a plate/bowl, like a big, like serving platter.
Like a blate, or what do they call that?
Yeah, I don't know what they call it, a plate.
Yeah,
Is that what they
blate.
call it? Is it like a thing?
I think it is a thing. We have some of those at home, and they're like big, shallow bowls that are meant for certain types of food. And
it's like if you were going to take like a big paella or something, or like a, something like that out of the pot.
Yeah.
You put it in that as a serving tray, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that has like, a bit of a vessel to it, but also
Yeah.
for those of you listening and not watching, I am making a gesture. It's sort of like a plate bowl type thing, like a bowlish plate with my hands.
Well, there's no watching on this episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Paella is a good transition, I think. Do you know where Fiji is? You're geographically challenged sometimes. But.
It's true. I know that Fiji is, let me think, Bali is over by sort of like toward New Zealand, Australia, right?
I think.
So
I don't actually know where
Fiji,
Bali is, but
I think is on the other direction towards Florida, like down past in the Atlantic Ocean, right?
No.
Where's Fiji?
Fiji is in the Pacific. It's closer to it's in between basically Hawaii and New Zealand. And
that's okay. That's what I was thinking. You're right. I was thinking Bali. Because that's what I was going to say immediately. And then I was like, wait a second. Because I was thinking to myself that when I used to fly to New Zealand all the time, that I was like, shit, man. Like, I should go to Fiji. It's right there.
Yeah.
I didn't trust my instinct, though, because now I'm so bad at geography that I was like, wait, it's there. What's the other one? Oh, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yes.
That's on the other side.
Territory of the United States.
It is.
Fiji is not, but American Samoa is, which is over there.
It is, and it's over there.
Guam, which is also over there.
Yeah, it's true. Those I knew.
They're all
Jeff.
in the same area.
They're all in the same area.
My sister studied abroad in Fiji. She lived there for like 6 months.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Fiji's supposed to be amazing.
I mean, it's an island in the middle of the Pacific. It sounds incredible.
Yeah, unless there's a tsunami.
Yeah.
Because it's small. It's a small island.
Some of these islands, I feel like I should make it a priority to visit because they're probably not going to be around.
No. With the water rising?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like, I need to go to these islands.
No. I just saw this video of a hailstorm in Calgary that literally put holes through outdoor coffee tables. I need to send you this so you can, so we can reference this, Jeff. Okay. So this is insane though, because it goes into, the whole climate change thing. It is absolutely insane. Excuse me, you can hear it. I'm turning it off now. This is crazy. But then all of the comments, do you just go to comment section sometimes just to be like, God, people are fucking stupid?
Just to see the train wreck, yeah.
Just to see how stupid people are. But then again, they think that I'm stupid because I believe in climate change and I don't believe that the government is seeding the clouds. And I don't believe in chemtrails.
I always love that argument because it's like, do you think our government could pull that off? Have you been to the DMV?
I was just at the USPS for 3 hours trying to get the paperwork done for my child's passport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, guys.
And it took forever because they were too busy seeding clouds, right?
If the USPS is in charge of seeding clouds, we're fucked.
Well, they got to send it there.
They do.
Who else is going to send it there?
Well, they got to send it to someone who's got to, they got to, and they're shooting it up there, Jeff.
Yeah.
They're shooting it up there.
You see, this is how we're going to get the audience to grow on this show. We have to just start talking about cloud seeding, chemtrails.
Start talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Lord help me.
Anyway.
Lord help me. Anyway, my point is that climate change is real. Yes, the water is rising. The sky is falling in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Fiji.
Just don't take an airplane there.
Oh, my Lord. There was a plane crash today in Brazil.
I saw that. That's sad.
God, that's sad.
It does, though, remind you, it is very sad, but it does remind you how actually safe plane travel is, that when one does crash, it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. And we're talking about, think about how many planes throughout the entire
Did you
world.
See, remember like a couple weeks ago when all the computer systems went down?
Oh, yeah, like Plane-ageddon or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Also, Starbucks Order Ahead app was also not working that day.
Oof. And you take that personally.
Personally.
But there's a video of all the planes like flying, like it's like not an actual video, they track all the planes flying across America. And when that happened, they all just like disappeared. And it was kind of like there were no planes in the sky, but it does show you how many planes there are just constantly flying. And it's like,
that's like fucking Lost. That's like scary shit, man.
It's like what happened in the pandemic too.
I can't. It scares the piss out of me. That stuff. Like if I could get everywhere, like by driving for the rest of my life, I would. Says the person who just got gold status on Alaska.
Yeah, so you do a lot of flying.
I travel all the time. I'm on so many planes that the amount of radiation that I get just from flying, which is proven, not a conspiracy theory, is like so much. It's so much. I have so much radiation in my body from planes.
But it's also probably balanced out by the principles. I'm going to really butcher this, but I'm trying to sound smart right now. But it's an Einstein, I think it's general relativity, but the idea that, the center of the Earth is a massive gravity well in space-time, and it actually affects the speed of time. So time moves faster on the surface than it does in the airplane. So the amount of time you've spent on an airplane has actually probably made you just slightly younger than you should be normally. So
that's like some Doctor Strange shit.
Yeah. Now I cannot wait to get completely called out and eviscerated on how wrong I am on this, but
that would be really cool.
But I think that's true.
It sounds cool. I hope it's true.
That's the whole premise of the Planet of the Apes. Right?
Rekha is a person, not to get us back on track, Jeff.
No, I have one more question about Rekha. So.
Rekha is, she is one of those people, I don't know if you know anyone like this or have friends like this, but Rekha is one of those people that always is so calm and always is so self-aware and introspective. And she has a growth mindset. And for people who don't sort of know what that means, in the sense that, constantly trying to evolve, knowing that you are only as great as the work you put in, things like that. Like Rekha is really that person, and she is incredibly interesting. And whenever I feel like I need like a dose of common sense or, like just like good, solid love, I usually call Rekha, because she has this ability to like hug you and have your problems melt away. It's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to meet her.
She's a really good person. Yeah.
So real quick to circle back, and this is relevant, but did you audition for this Law and Order?
I did not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, then
you issued a challenge in this episode. Do you remember? You were talking about how much you dislike
tape and how nobody gets booked off tape.
Right. And you said that if you ever get booked off tape, you will eat a can of sardines and post the video.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that you did not get booked off tape on this. Okay. All right. No. Well, then it still stands.
Yeah. Because that's why you brought up sardines. No.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't bring up sardines.
Did you not bring up sardines? Someone brought up sardines when I was taking the job. Who brought up sardines? I don't remember, but no, you guys.
Yeah.
Although I did just have a really, really, really good audition on tape.
Nice.
And chances are it will turn into nothing. But I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
We'll have to get a can of sardines ready.
I mean, yeah, you never know. You never know. It'll happen. It'll happen one of these days because there are no other opportunities out there. So, or options. Like I have to do it. I have to get better at it.
Shall we read some comments?
Yes. Let's read some comments. Darnell M743 said, I subbed just off of her vibe. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Darnell. I appreciate you, man. Hopefully that just means that I'm just crazy, right?
Hey, we don't know what kind of vibe Darnell likes, but
it's true.
Hey, it's a new subscriber.
Let me know, Darnell. Maybe I'll lean into that.
Yeah, Darnell, if you're listening, tell us what vibe you like.
Please. Lycon0457 said, these last 2 weeks have really given me a better appreciation for the journey that people take to be actors. I'm really amazed by how interesting these episodes have been with people that I knew almost nothing about going into the podcast. Also, my hat's off to Katee as she's gotten so good, capitals, at interviewing people for these episodes in a way that keeps things moving along smoothly while also giving time for certain conversation points to fully mature before moving on. Wow. That's a really nice compliment, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I don't often like to put comments in here that are just stroking your ego, but I thought that one was really nice.
You felt like I needed one?
Yeah, it's always nice to throw one in. And that one was really well thought out. And
it was.
I agree. I mean, the ones that I don't usually put in there are ones that are just like, I like this podcast. Way to go, Katee.
Yay.
Not that we don't appreciate them. We love them and love seeing them.
Yeah.
But that one was really nice.
I did a radio tour the other day to promote the podcast, to just try and get people more aware of it and stuff like that. And so if you heard me on the radio, let me know, because I did a lot of them. Oddly enough, a lot in Minnesota, like the Midwest. I did a lot of them over there. So
it's a big market.
It's a huge market. And they were sort of talking to me about the things. A lot of them wanted to know if I've learned anything from doing the podcast. And I said, number one, you guys know all about this, but that I was like, well, I realized I have ADHD. That was like the first one. And came to that. And then also realized that I had to learn how to have conversations like all over again. I had to learn, like actively learn how to be a good listener, because I wasn't, I grew up in a household where everyone talked over each other, and that was just normal for me. I surrounded myself with people in my life that had tons of energy all the time to sort of match my energy, and never really learned how to actively listen, which is so weird.
Right. Which kind of gets to, and I mean, by the time this hindsight comes out, we will have, last week's episode will have been Edward James Olmos. And you mentioned that specifically in the story with him telling you how to act. I mean, that's what he tells you, right?
It's true, to listen. And the irony of that is that as an actor, I listen. But then as soon as they say cut, I'm like, back to myself.
No, I listen professionally.
Well, I listen when I'm being paid, Jeffrey. Only when I'm being paid.
We had on the Jay Ellis episode, we had a little bit of a back and forth about the order of the scene in the original Top Gun movie. And Robert is correcting us here, or not correcting, but giving us the full information with a little bit of extra detail here.
I love it. Robert, Pace 4913, give it up. Okay, so Top Gun 86, you're mixing up 3 scenes. He does not shower before the dinner conversation with Charlie about the MiG-28, not a real jet, played by the F-5E and F. No adult time in that scene, meaning no sexy time, guys. I added that, not Robert.
You can't even, you just, I love that you were explained it by just making another euphemism. They did not have sex, is what he's saying.
And then I said they did not have sexy time.
Yeah.
Okay. Later, Mav, that's Tom Cruise, guys. I added that, not Robert. Talks to Charlie in an elevator. Charlie is a girl, just FYI. You guys, I'm really butchering this, but I feel like even this needs context.
We're adding a lot of footnotes to this.
So Mav talks to Charlie in an elevator, post-off screen shower. Okay. This is a reshoot scene. The wet hair was the solution to hide his longer hair as he is filming Color of Money, I believe. This is also why Charlie has a hat on. Her hair was much longer. Adult time comes, sex comes after the Mav Charlie car chase, post her roasting him in the debris for his aggressive flying. You're right, Robert. The love scene is also part of the reshoots. Oh,
yeah, so they both had long hair while they were having sexy adult time.
yes. I wonder why they reshot the sex scene, or maybe they added the sex scene. Maybe
they might have
were
added it. Yeah,
we need some brown chicken brown care.
It'd be really horrible if they had to reshoot it, like to have to like tell the two of them, like, listen, first time it just
just not. You know what we're going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to shoot it completely in silhouette, and we're going to watch you lick each other.
Yeah, the first time we saw too much of it, and that made it not sexy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So now we're going to show none of it, just silhouettes. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate that. Let's get into the mail sack, Jeff.
Mail sack. We're going to the mail sack. Mail sack. Why are we calling it mail sack?
That was pretty good. First off, I want to talk about the postage stamp mail sack thing. The picture that we want to put on social media.
Yeah, that was some art that came from a fan that was in the Jay Ellis episode from Jordan. And we asked her if we could share this, and she said sure. And her account on Instagram, if you want to follow her, is aptats, A-P-T .TATS. And she's got some great art on there that you can check out.
This goes into what I was going to say, though. We want to post this, but I have hired someone to help me with social media and sort of, because I'm so busy now. So I send stuff and she helps and give advice basically. And one of the things that she said was, you can't post this. Because we hired her to figure out why I was basically like shadow banned on Facebook. I couldn't figure it out. And it was basically if anything looks like a boob, even if it's not a boob, like if it's a flash from your camera over like your breast area, the AI thinks it's a boob and blocks it out. So like there's a picture of Mary and I. So the two pictures that were blocked on Facebook, you guys, this is insane. One of them was a picture of me kissing my daughter on the lips. But in that picture, I'm holding on to a margarita glass, and where the margarita glass is, it kind of could look to AI like, I guess, a boob. And so it like blocked me. And then the other one was with me and Mary McDonald. And it also got blocked because there was a flash right over where my nipple would be. And the AI can like flag it for inappropriate content. So I had 2 photos on Facebook and Instagram that got flagged for inappropriate content and no idea why. So we basically brought her in to help us figure out what the F was going on. And she was like, if you post this, it looks like a mail sack. And I was like, yeah, no, it's supposed to look like a mail sack. She goes, no, it looks like a man's genitalia sack.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's a compliment.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like that. And she was like, I don't think you can post that. And I was like, why? And she goes, you will get shadow banned. And I was like, what? That sucks. So I think we need to ask her potentially to turn it more into like an actual male sack instead of like the male genitalia sack. But part of the problem is the fact that it looks like a male genitalia sack with 2 balls and I am in it is part of the humor. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose the humor.
I just love the detailed explanation of this.
Here's the thing, though. And I think that this is something that everyone appreciates, or they should.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pretty raunchy sense of humor. My husband appreciates it.
I think that's been made very apparent on this podcast,
I think
Katee.
people know, but here's the other thing. People don't know it if they haven't listened to the hindsight.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? So if people are only listening to the episodes, and then I post a picture of me standing in a male genitalia sack of mail,
Yeah.
people
Really?
might be like,
Is this from Battlestar? Is this a new Star Wars show? Oh, Longmire's coming back.
let's wait until we have a lot more like sponsorship and a lot more viewership and like people really are comfortable with my type of humor. And then we'll post the male sack thing.
Yeah. But in the meantime, go check out Jordan's page. She's got a lot of great art on there. And thank you for the art. And we appreciate it. I get a kick out of seeing it all.
I do too. I appreciate the humor, Jordan. Thank you so much for actually getting me. But here, let's get into the mail sack with this stuff. You guys, Jake says, if you guys do end up doing merch, I'd be a sucker for it. Katee as Katee action figure. Oh, hell yeah. Break the facade of action figure heroes next. Please also consider a Robin spinoff with separate Canada accessories and a limited edition oily Top Gun volleyball Robin. It could be big.
I think it would be.
I think it would be big.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
I want to see a match set between you and Robin, you know?
Do you? FYI, Robin is actually a phenomenal volleyball player. Like he really is. Like
And unlike Jay Ellis, he really sweats.
It's true. When I met Robin, he was actively like on a volleyball team and like would go down and like do pickup games, weren't you? Yeah, he was. Yeah, but the beach volleyball, which is even better. You know, I don't know if I don't think people play indoors actually. Do adults play volleyball inside? You did? He played in an indoor league. He's just
Yeah, I mean, they do. They're at the Olympics.
Oh, indoor volleyball's in the Olympics?
Yeah, isn't it?
I know that beach volleyball is in the Olympics. And indoor? Oh, yeah, they both are.
Yeah.
There you go.
You had me weirded out for a second. I was like, wait, is it not?
Chuck just said, with the various streaming services paying content providers differently and in some cases demonetizing things at random, where is the best place for you to have a listen? Oh, where's the best place for people to find us, Jeff, for our own benefit?
I mean, the YouTube's always great, but we're not as strong on Apple Podcast or Spotify. So if people really are enjoying the audio versions, go listen over on Apple and on Spotify. That's one of the best places. And as far as the paying thing goes, in the podcast world, it's a whole separate payment thing. So outside of YouTube, we're not making any money off of the other things. But the more people that listen increases the opportunity that we could make some money to keep doing this show. So
it's true.
If you care about us at all,
listen to it 5 times. Just turn it on every day that you go to work and let it play out.
Yeah. I used to listen to a podcast where they would encourage people to grab random people's phones and subscribe to the podcast.
You guys, that's a great idea. If every person that was subscribed to our channel grabbed every phone that belonged to their family and subscribed every family member, we would probably quadruple our subscribers in like a day.
Yeah.
That would be like a record or something.
And then we'll make those action figures for everybody and everybody will be happy.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Including the dum-dums over on YouTube that are like, I don't like to just listen to podcasts. I want to watch it.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes babies need a screen. Was that too mean? I don't know.
I don't think so, Jeff. A screen calms my 2-year-old down. Maybe it does the same for people. Now we're just offending everyone on YouTube.
No, nobody listens this far into the episode.
No, they don't. Like 4 people.
If you're still listening right now, just in the comments, write the word baby wants a screen.
baby wants a scream. Oh my God. Oh God. I wish that we could turn so many of these things into t-shirts. That'd be really funny. This was fun, you guys. So remember, send your comments, your questions, all that good stuff into the sackoffshow@gmail.com. Remember to like and subscribe. Do it on every streaming service just for shits and giggles. You know, you could be those 4 people. You go subscribe everywhere. Subscribe. You go subscribe everywhere.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. And we will see you guys next Tuesday. And that's what's up.